It means you understand that nothing is more valuable than your peace, and no one has the right to take it away unless you give them permission. Think about how often we blame others for how we feel. They made me angry, they ruined my day, they ruined my… These phrases sound normal, but they give too much power to others. They suggest that your peace depends on someone else's behavior. But when you take full responsibility for your emotions, you shift that power back to where it belongs, with you. This isn't easy, especially when someone is deliberately trying to provoke you. But it's in those moments that your commitment to your own peace is truly tested. You don't owe anyone a reaction. You don't need to explain yourself to everyone who misunderstands you or fight every battle that comes your way. Sometimes the strongest thing you can do is walk away, not because you're defeated, but because you've decided that your inner calm is too important to risk over something temporary or petty or pain. Life becomes lighter when you stop carrying the weight of other people's actions and start focusing on your response instead. The more you practice this, the more unshakable you become. Your peace, once protected and prioritized, turns into a shield, keeping you grounded, strong and deeply centered no matter who tries to disturb it. Reactions often escalate the problem. In the heat of the moment, it might feel right to speak up sharply, to defend yourself instantly, or to return the same hurt someone gave you. But more often than not, that immediate emotional reaction only adds fuel to the fire. No. What starts as a single hurtful comment can quickly spiral into a full-blown argument or an ongoing conflict, simply because no one took a step back to think before responding. This chain of reaction and counter-reaction becomes a cycle that keeps spinning, dragging both people into deeper negativity. When someone hurts you, they might not even be looking for resolution. They might just be looking to provoke, to pass on their own pain or to test your boundaries. If you react without thinking, you play right into their game. You give them what they want, a scene, a fight, some drama to hold on to. But if you can resist that urge to react, you take control of the entire situation. You give it no room to grow, no energy to feed on. Your calmness becomes a wall they can't climb. There's a saying, you can't fight fire with fire with fire. When both sides are reacting out of hurt, anger or ego, the situation only gets worse. Words get louder, meanings get twisted and the focus shifts from resolution to winning. Pride takes over. And in that space, understanding and peace have no room to exist. What could have been a small misunderstanding or a momentary sting turns into long-term resentment or even broken relationships. This is the danger of emotional reaction. It often takes something small and makes it bigger than it ever needed to be. Choosing not to react doesn't mean you're ignoring the issue. It means you're choosing clarity over chaos. It gives you the time to process your feelings, understand the situation, and then decide whether it even deserves your energy. Sometimes when emotions settle, you realize it wasn't as serious as it felt in the moment. You see the situation for what it truly is, not what your emotions painted it to be. And other times, even if it was serious, your calm approach allows you to address it with maturity without creating more damage along the way. Holding back a reaction is not about being passive or weak, it's about being wise. It's about understanding that not every offense requires a defense. Sometimes your silence or your delayed thoughtful response can dissolve tension faster than any comeback ever could. When you learn to pause instead of react, you're not just avoiding escalation, you're creating space for peace to take over. Silence speaks louder than words, especially when someone tries to hurt you. In moments of conflict, most people expect a reaction, an outburst, an insult, some kind of emotional explosion that shows they've gotten under your skin. When you meet that expectation with silence, it disrupts the pattern. It catches them off guard. Your silence becomes a mirror, forcing them to sit with their own behavior instead of being distracted by your response. It makes them question what they said or did and whether it was worth it. That stillness carries weight. It sends a message more powerful than any words could express. When someone hurts you and you respond with anger, you're validating their action, you're showing them that they succeeded in causing emotional damage. But when you stay silent, when you choose to observe, instead of react, you send a very different message. You show that you're not easily shaken. You show strength, discipline and emotional control, and sometimes that silence is what makes the other person feel the weight of their own actions. Because without your reaction to distract them, they're left alone with the echo of what they said or did. Silence isn't always about ignoring someone. It's about being intentional with your energy. It means choosing not to participate in negativity. It means protecting your peace by not engaging in a situation that doesn't deserve your attention. Deserve your attention. You don't always need to defend yourself to someone who's trying to hurt you. Not every accusation needs a rebuttal. Not every insult deserves a comeback. Sometimes the strongest position you can take is one of quiet confidence. Silence shows that you're not controlled by someone else's actions. You don't need to stoop to their level or join their chaos. In fact, silence often communicates more than shouting ever could. It says, I see you, but I won't play a game. It's… I could respond, but I choose peace. That kind of silence is powerful because it holds dignity. It comes from self-respect, not weakness. And people feel that. They feel when your silence is filled with strength rather than fear. It's not about avoiding confrontation. It's about choosing the right time and place and the right mindset to deal with conflict in a way that serves you, not hurts you. When you use silence wisely, it becomes a tool, a shield, a boundary. It teaches people how to treat you, not by what you say, but by what you choose not to give your energy to. That quiet strength leaves a lasting impression, and more often than not, it says everything that needs to be said. Let karma do its job. When someone hurts you, it's natural to want justice. You might feel tempted to get even, to teach them a lesson or to show them how it feels to be in your shoes. But the truth is, life has a way of bringing everything full circle. You don't have to take revenge or waste your energy trying to make things right through force or retaliation. When you step back and let karma do its work, you're trusting that the universe has its own balance and that every action, good or bad, eventually meets its return. Revenge might bring short-term satisfaction, but it never brings peace. It keeps you tied to the person who hurt you. It keeps your thoughts occupied with them, your emotions entangled in the pain they caused, and your spirit weighed down by anger or resentment. But when you release the need to punish, when you walk away and trust that life will take care of what's meant to be, you give yourself the freedom to heal. You no longer carry the burden of someone else's wrongdoings. You no longer poison your own soul trying to deliver justice. Karma doesn't need help. Everyone eventually faces the consequences of their actions, whether it shows up in the form of a broken relationship, an internal emptiness, or a pattern of repeated failure. People who hurt others aren't free from consequences just because you don't see them suffer. Pain has a way of finding its way back to the source, even if it takes time. And while you're tempted to stand back and wait for it to happen, the real strength lies in walking away without looking back. It's in knowing that you don't need to be there to witness their downfall. You've already won when you rise above it. Choosing to let karma work doesn't mean you're okay with what happened. It means you've decided to protect your own spirit instead of wasting it on bitterness. You recognize that life is too short to be spent in battles that don't deserve your presence. You learn that peace is more powerful than revenge and that those who move with integrity, even after being wronged, are the ones who are truly rewarded. So when someone hurts you, don't rush to get even. Instead, take a deep breath, take the high road and keep moving forward. In doing so, you allow life to handle what you don't need to carry. You free yourself from the cycle of negativity and give karma the space to do what it always does. Return every action to its source. Growth comes from restraint. It's easy to act on impulse, especially when someone wounds you with their words or actions. The immediate urge is to fight back, to defend your ego, to show them they can't get away with hurting you. But real growth begins when you learn to pause instead of react, when you choose control over chaos. The restraint is not the absence of emotion, it's the mastery of it. It means you feel the sting, the anger, the disappointment, but you decide to hold yourself steady instead of letting those emotions rule your behavior. The time you practice restraint, you're teaching yourself discipline. You're telling your mind that it doesn't have to be a slave to every provocation. You're showing your heart that it doesn't need to bleed just because someone else threw a stone. It's in those quiet moments of choosing not to respond that you discover your own strength. You begin to understand that power isn't about dominance, it's about self-control. Anyone can yell, curse or retaliate, but it takes real maturity to remain composed, to protect your energy and to respond only when it serves your peace, not your pride. The truth is, hurt people often try to hurt others. When you react, you might be falling into that same cycle, but when you restrain yourself, you're breaking that pattern. You're choosing healing over harm. You're becoming the kind of person who can feel deeply but still act wisely. That's where emotional intelligence lives, in the gap between feeling and reacting. In that space, you grow. You learn about your triggers, your values and your boundaries. You become more in tune with who you are and who you want to be, not just how you want to win an argument or prove a point. Growth through restraint also means learning to see beyond the moment. Not everything deserves your immediate reaction. Not every insult needs a comeback. Sometimes what feels like weakness in the moment turns out to be wisdom in hindsight. You begin to realize that not reacting doesn't mean you're letting someone get away with hurting you. It means you're refusing to let them control you. It means you're choosing your peace over temporary satisfaction. It means you're focusing on your long-term growth instead of short-term revenge. Over time, this restraint becomes second nature. You become someone who isn't easily disturbed, someone who responds with purpose instead of pain. That's real growth, the kind that builds unshakable inner strength and a life rooted in peace, clarity and confidence. So now I ask you, what kind of person do you want to be when the world tries to shake you? Will you be someone who reacts without thinking, giving away your power to anyone who throws pain your way? Or will you be someone who pauses, protects their peace and walks forward with strength and grace? The choice is always yours. From this moment on, choose silence over chaos, peace over pride and growth over reaction. Train your mind to respond, not react.